Welcome back to the SNHU online podcast. My name is Giovanni, and I am an online student at Southern New Hampshire University, majoring in data analytics with a minor in STEM project management. So today we are going to be going over week 3 and week 4. Since you guys got the first couple of weeks in the last video, if you haven't had a chance to check that one out, please do, or check out the last podcast if you are partaking in the audio version of this. So this is the 2 weeks that I think if you are going to go through this particular class, which you will if you are going through data analytics, IT-100 is a requirement. The check your knowledge, which is the quizzes that you go through before you ever get a chance to read any documentation, I think is a very unique way that the instructors for this particular class is different than any class I've taken. Most of the time, you get classes or you get quizzes after you have read the documentation. This one requires that you take a quiz before you even start reading. So as interesting as that is, let's just dive into it. So first things we always start off with is the grade check. We're at 366.43 out of 390, which is a grade A in this particular class. And we'll just break down each one of these as far as 3 and 4. So we're going to talk about the check your knowledge. As I said, that's just a quiz that you do that initially. And once that part is done, you get a grade immediately. So on the 3.0, the check your knowledge, I got an A in that. I got a 9.52. So not an exact perfect score, but enough to score an A in that class. Then we have the discussion portion, which is an interesting aspect as well. So this one was on IT security phishing. And so what I did for mine was that you had to pick a topic. And when you pick that topic, you had to talk about how you would know if it were a phishing attempt. And if you don't know what phishing is, that's okay. It is when let's say like a company, in this case, I used Netflix in my example, but let's say that that company is sending you an email, and most of the time now it's done by text messages as well. But in this case, if they're sending you an email, how would you be able to tell if it's phishing? Let's say there's grammatical errors in it. Let's say that the subject line has misspellings and things to that nature. Where it's coming from is very weird. If you're expecting something from Netflix, but Netflix is misspelled. And so that was the summary of this particular discussion. And so the rubric on this was pretty straightforward, nothing different, nothing really major. What I was trying to do was to make sure that I honed in and gave some visual. So as you guys know, if you have been following me along this journey, I tend to not just do posts like everyone else, which are just flat responses. I tend to do them like you would do a blog post. So there's pictures and videos and things to that nature. So in this case, I did mine, like I said, specifically on Netflix. So moving along, we had to do a network configuration model. Now that is 3.2, that is an activity that is required. And what I did in mine is I went through and just broke down, you had some choices, and the choices that you had, I actually decided to break mine down specifically because of the last feedback that I received in chapter 2 was that I was not basically going by the rubric. I was answering the questions, but not basing it off the rubric. So I actually broke mine down specifically as he was grading, which made it very easy for him to go through and see what I was doing. And so as you can see, he just wanted to see, there was some areas where I did a in-text citation. And this is the second time like I've done in-text citations, and for whatever reason, the teacher has said like in-text citations were not necessary. And so they've taken off points because I have used in-text citations. So that's something I've taken from that, and we'll move forward. I just took the feedback from, as you can see, from 2 and where he really hammered on you didn't stick with the rubric at all. So it was very difficult for me to give you a passing grade in that. Even though a B is a passing grade, it was not satisfactory for me. So now before O, we had a regular knowledge check, and that one was fine. It wasn't anything major. And I'm just waiting on the roles and responsibilities in IT. I'm just waiting on the grade for that. So that is all of 3 and 4. Not a lot specifically, but for those of you who are just curious and maybe looking at this coursework to see what you're going to do, this particular class, if you have some understanding of if you have some IT background, then this won't be a difficult class, as I've said before. But if you are new to IT, this will be a class to really give you some understanding of how networks work, how computers work, and those type of things. You go through VPNs and all of that. So that's about it for this week. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to the podcast and hang out with me, even if you're on the video portion. Thank you for that as I document my journey as an SNHU online data analytics student. If there's anything in this video or podcast that has helped you in any way, please just drop it. It does help the algorithm know that my work is helping other data analytics students. If for some reason this is something that you're into, please consider subscribing, and I will talk to you guys later.